May.
Hi, Paris.
How are you?
Very good, thank you.
I'm so excited for this episode.
Yes, me too.
So good to have you on.
Yeah.
Now, before we start the episode, we always ask our guests what makes you smile the most.
Aw. What makes me smile the most is absolutely being here today makes me smile. I think this is my very first podcast. So I'm very excited. There's also my kids definitely makes me smile. Like, just going back and, home from a days of work and just seeing them every day, just their innocence and them just really wanting to be around, myself and Ruben. It just really makes me smile as well.
Perfect. What are your kids' names?
Ryan and Alex.
Amazing. How old are they?
They are 10 and 5.
10 and 5?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. So nice.
I know. So time flies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Before we start and everything like that, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself. Who are you? What's your role at DB? And basically just provide the audience with a little bit of context on who you are.
Yes. Well, I'm Dr. May Chan. I'm one of the co-founders of Dental Boutique. So started Dental Boutique around 11 years ago with Dr. Ruben, which is my husband, but also my business partner as well.
And going back a little bit, starting the business and things like that and, growing up, we'll start from the very beginning. What was your interest? What sparked your love for dentistry? How did it all begin?
Yes. Well, it actually all started when I was 9. So I fell and hit my 2 front teeth. It was a traumatic accident, I actually had one tooth that completely fell out and the other one that chipped in half, and I had a lot of issues over the years with suffering with the effects of that accident. So I had a great dentist who was my aunt. And, she helped fix my smile. And even though because I was young and there wasn't a lot of options available then in terms of what we can do about the dark and crooked teeth as I grew up, that sort of inspired me to be a dentist and want to try and fix that for myself, but also for others.
Because I guess, how old were you?
I was 9.
You were 9.
Yes.
And then when was the time that you sort of had your smile fixed or you had the treatment?
Because of that accident, I had to have a root canal straight away, and that tooth was put straight back into the mouth as well on the day. So it was, it was a painful experience. But, I think after seeing my aunt who was the dentist, my dentist at the time, she really was quite very gentle and helped, fix everything very nicely. And I felt it was pretty painless in terms of injection and the way she treated me as well. So that sort of helped the situation a lot. But what I suffered was more from the self-consciousness of how it looks after it has been fixed, because it was still really dark, and the other tooth, because it was put straight back in, it sort of moved over time and sort of got crooked as well and sort of fixed in that position. So I sort of lived with that for my whole life, pretty much up until uni.
Oh, wow.
And after university, the first thing I wanted to do was to really learn more about what can I do about the teeth. So I immediately did Invisalign on myself with Ruben's help, of course. Yeah. And after that, had veneers done as well. Yeah. And that sort of fixed my smile.
Your smile's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
And I guess then I suppose your aunt would have been a really, really big inspiration and someone that you looked up to for a lot of your life, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's really very inspiring story, especially, you may have gone through some of the toughest years. I know high school for a lot of, especially young women, it's a time where they're most self-conscious. And, it's a very, very self-conscious time and a self-critical time. So I can only imagine how self-critical you would have been at that time and how hard it may have been. And I guess that really ties into what Dental Boutique is all about, I guess, building and empowering and feeling confident in your smile and being proud of what you have, and whether it's, say, a natural smile or you have veneers, or no matter the cosmetic work that is done, I think it's always really important to feel confident, and that really portrays in each and everyone's everyday life.
Absolutely. I have definitely experienced firsthand how it feels like to be self-conscious about your smile. And it made it very easy, I guess, to also relate to patients when I started helping patients and when we started Dental Boutique to really understand what they've gone through. So, often I might even cry with them at consult because it's I could really relate to how deeply a smile can impact someone when you're not confident about it. And that's really what inspired, myself and Dr. Ruben to start Dental Boutique, because we find that we have innovated and created this amazing way that at that time not many people were seeking for these treatments.
Yes.
Because I think we weren't very aware and weren't very educated. There wasn't a lot out there.
Definitely a lack of education.
Absolutely. I think it was
sure.
so cosmetic dentistry was seen as a taboo almost, where it's only for the celebs and for the Hollywood smile. And what about the everyday people that just didn't want to smile and just, would hide their smile every time they would laugh? And, you've seen people that would avoid having photos, and that was me as well growing up. Wouldn't want to be in a photo, or if I were to be in a photo, I just look like I'm angry because I just would not pull my lips apart to smile and reveal my teeth. There are so many people that we realize out there that need that education that, hey, it's not vanity. It is okay to feel not confident about your smile and want to fix it.
I totally agree. Couldn't agree more. And it's such an interesting thing. I've already spoken about it on the podcast in the very first episode. But I was a patient as well, and you really don't know your options until you go out and you have that consultation and you speak to one of our dentists and you really get educated about what you can do. And you might not go ahead with, say, veneers on the day. You might try different things, and they provide you with so many options, which is absolutely amazing. So
your smile looks incredible.
Oh, so I love my smile. And like you said, I feel so much more confident now. And I think in high school for me, getting braces was, I think it was towards the end of high school. So, formals were coming up, valedictories, schoolies, different things, different social events that, I wanted to feel my best self in.
Yes.
So I think, it's very, very important to explore your options and understand and, educate yourself. Absolutely.
I'm glad you found us.
Me too. And then, when you were in high school and things like that, I guess you were inspired by your aunt, but were you sort of also considering going down the business road? Was that ever something that came to mind?
Yeah, well, not really.
No,
I think as dentists, when you graduate, it's interesting how you are taught all this theory and a little bit of hands-on, but you never had any private practice experience. What I mean by that is actual, paying patients that come in and, wanting work done, right? So, when we practice in dental school or university, what you do is you work in a dental hospital and you would serve the people that are on healthcare cards and people that have traumas and things like that coming in. So the type of dentistry you do is very different to the dentistry as you graduate and come out and see the normal everyday day-to-day patients. So, it was something that's Ruben and I always knew that we wanted to go down into the cosmetic dentistry realm.
Yes.
So we went on and actually traveled many different countries and find out how everyone does things differently in each country. And it is quite a big variance of work that's being done and carried out in every place we visit. So we went and, learned everything we could learn from everywhere in the world in terms of trying to find mentors and, lectures and people. And I think from that experience, we realized that there are so much variance in the quality of dentistry that can be provided. And often you'll find that there's only a select few dentists that are the more well-known dentists, I guess, in different countries.
Yes.
Where they might be the person to go-to person, for the treatment. And when that happens, it's generally a single chair practice. So it's like, they have limited availability and they can't really serve the wider community. So that's when Ruben and I said, why can't we create something where we could create a system where we can create education for dentists that are on the same journey as what we are and are passionate about cosmetic dentistry and try to create this amazing experience for our patient by having our unique dental boutique protocols that we've learned and combined from everywhere else. Yes. And that's why, we have this special dental boutique experience where a patient would go through for their smile journey.
And I guess that's so important, making it more of an experience, because it is an experience, and being able to sit in the chair and feel comfortable with your dentist is an experience in itself, and not many people get that opportunity. And I think it's really a fantastic idea that you and Ruben came up with, and I think it's really, really important. And it will just, it changes so many people's perspective and, outlook on seeing a dentist. I think potentially maybe that gets lost sometimes, with other practices or, the average dentist and things like that aren't providing that experience to their patients.
I think I must say I find that dentists generally are all amazing people. Like, a lot of dentists we've met are all just incredible, amazing people. But I think just more so people all have their own focus and passion on different areas of dentistry. And it may not be for all dentists to really like to do this sort of procedure, but then for dentists that like to do this procedure, we really want to sort of make sure we elevate that experience for patients when they do join Dental Boutique, that we make sure that this experience is, is the best that the patient could experience. I mean, that's our vision for our patients walking through our doors.
Absolutely. For those of you who don't know who Dr. Ruben is, Dr. Ruben is May's business partner, but also her relationship partner. So if you want to give him like a brief introduction, how did you meet?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. So Dr. Ruben, who is my husband as well as business partner. So we met in university, actually.
Wow.
So when we went through dental school.
Yep.
And it was the second year where he decided to ask me out. And I think since then we've just been a couple. And
very good team.
Oh, thank you. And so we learn, together in uni, and we, went to uni together. We even had our first jobs interview together. Like, it was we've always worked at the same place ever since we graduated as well. So we've been a great team from day one.
Yes, and it's very, very important. I think as well, it's very interesting, as a woman in business, but also being in business with your partner.
Yes.
So, some people say that there's a saying that people say, don't go into business with your partner or your friends. Yeah. But how would you say that journey has been? How did you decide that was going to be the right choice for both of you?
Yes. Well, I guess it's definitely not for everyone. I think, each to your own. Some people like that, to keep work and life quite separate. I think for both Ruben and myself, work is life.
Yes.
And, life is work. So for that reason, I think it worked because, sometimes obviously we do take it to a extreme where, we really do need to shut off from time to time. But, most of the time, I think that's why, it works because we can relate to one another. If there is a hard time at work, we could actually, we both understand what's going on for each other, and, we would look after each other, in that sense as well, rather than, someone having a hard week at work and then, for that week, the other partner's sort of demanding, attention because maybe the other partner has a different situation and a hard week at work, for example. And, often that could be what pulls partners or relationships apart.
Totally, yeah.
But I think because we're on the same journey and our vision, fortunately, is very aligned, it just really helps us go forward in life and and just really understand each other as well of what we're going through every day.
Yes, absolutely. And I think you both do such a great job at tackling things on a very professional level, and I think it is really important because you understand each other's personalities quite well, so that also helps to make a great team. So it's very, very interesting, but so important that each person really understands each other, especially when it comes to going to business and things like that. Now you mentioned you need time to shut off and things like that, but as an entrepreneur, how do you juggle also being a mum?
Oh yes. I think it's always a challenge, and I've never thought that I would be considered an entrepreneur, like, as what it is today, I've always just, want to be a dentist and do what I do best. So how do I juggle, fast forward to today is, it's still hard. Like, you never find the perfect balance. There are times where you say, okay, I'm going to set some boundaries. It's going to be, from this time to this time or this day. We need to make sure the weekends is sacred and it has to be just with the kids. And, to give them that consistency. And I think, I find that as a business owner and entrepreneur that's your day to day. There's no routine. Like, anything can happen. And sometimes it do require you to be away for weeks, for work and to have your weekend sacrificed as well. And I do admire certain entrepreneurs that would be able to just shut off and say, yep, no, these are my boundaries and I protect that first. We are so passionate about our vision and where we're going and what we want to achieve and our purpose that I find we do find it hard. Sometimes all weekend we'll be like, oh, so inspired about this thing that we're going to do. And, we'll actually block out time and just get it done that weekend and potentially not have that time with the kids. But how do I juggle is, whenever we do have time, we make a point to really make sure we connect with the kids. And when I say that, we mean, just really make sure we're present, because you can be with your kids with your pickups and drop-offs and, cooking and cleaning and laundry and all of that, but potentially not being present and connecting with them. How are you? How's things? Having fun, having a laugh, smiling together, doing silly things together. And that's what I find it's my balance, to be able to spend those quality time whenever we get the time is what makes it makes it all worthwhile to pursue both the career and the family at the same time.
100%. And I think that your kids would also probably think to themselves, wow, my parents are so passionate, they're so motivated. And it really instills that into your kids as well. And I think that's one of the things with both my parents, they both worked full time, as I was growing up as well. But I think now looking back on it, I really, really thank them for that. And I admire it and I look up to it. And I think that it is really important. And, being a mother in itself is probably so, so tricky, and it's a whole separate job in itself. But, being an entrepreneur at the same time is just incredible. So huge pat on the back for you.
Thank you. Well, it's good to know that, it's turned out positive for you, because I've actually personally had conversations with both Ryan and Alex about how they mentioned just in passing a few times when we're talking, that how they do not want to they don't want to own their own business in the future. And we're like, oh, why is that? Like, he said, like, if you're something really passionate about, you feel you have something to give, why wouldn't you want to create something and give that? And they go like, oh, because being a boss, as they call it, because as a kid, that's what they call it, is too hard. I'm like, why would you say that? It's like, oh, because you just don't have time. You're just too busy.
When it's something that you enjoy, though.
And I'm like, oh, when you say that, what do you mean? It's like, oh, like Daddy and Mummy never have time for us.
Oh.
And then it's like, oh, you don't come to school and do the, reading for us like the other mums and dads do. And, you wouldn't always see you at pickup and things like that. So sometimes when they say things like that, it truly do break our hearts.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think, everyone has a different view on this. Some people find that, yes, it's so important for parents to just be, like when their kids are growing up, to just always be there, always be present and, do what's right for the kids. And that's what fulfills them as, humans and parents. And for myself, I find that if I do that, while it may be what the kids may want, but I might not be happy internally because I don't feel like I'm fulfilling my purpose and my dreams and what I do want to do for myself and for Dental Boutique. So for that reason, it is then just us needing to explain to them why we do what we do and how we do enjoy work, and it works not, a part of our life as well. And, and hopefully one day they understand.
They will. I'm sure they will. And, highlighting that passion and drive, I think, is really, really important and significant. But, they may change. They may change as they get older, and it would be very interesting to see.
Hopefully they'll be like you.
Maybe. Now, going back to the brand and how Dental Boutique has evolved, obviously it has been extremely successful, and over the past 11 years now, maybe you didn't see it becoming what it is today, but what was that original vision and how has that evolved?
I think what was the original vision's always just been that, hey, there's a better way of doing things. This is how we think we could do. Everyone's doing it this certain way, and we wanted to create something where it's an experience for the patient, and they come in, they're not just told, hey, on textbook, this is your condition, this is what you need to do.
Yes.
Like, we understand there's a human aspect behind dentistry and what people are seeking the treatment for. So being able to connect with them and understand why they're here, and also understanding that, okay, there's a lot of fear behind this as well, right? For them to even pick up the call to come in for a consultation, for them to sit in front of the dentist and being vulnerable to explain, hey, I'm not vain, but this is a problem that's been affecting me for a while. Or for them to feel embarrassed that, hey, I may not have been flossing or looking after my teeth, or that, my back teeth is horrible and I'm about to lose my teeth and I don't want to be told, why didn't you brush it? I think as dentists, we're taught about the science of things a lot, but we don't really get taught in dentistry that emotional side of things, aspect of things, about, hey, a patient is a human and there's a lot of emotions involved with that human being, and about the our whys as well. Because we might be like, okay, well, I've got this problem, this is how to fix it. But for the patient, there's like a why I've come in. And that's why so many people avoid going to the dentist still, or have anxiety coming to the dentist. Just even be the fear of being judged, or fear of, how much is it going to cost, and the uncertainty of what's going to happen, what is the procedure involved. It's just so much unknown. And I think as dentists, it's so important that, we all understand that human aspect, and being able to understand the patient. And when you do understand the patient, that's when you can provide a very customized plan for the patient.
Correct.
To tackle exactly what they need. Let them feel in control on, okay, well, these are the conditions, explain to them. You're the educator of explaining, well, without judgment, these are the conditions and these are the options you can take. Give them hope of where it can be, where their dream smile could look like.
Yes. And options as well, I think, is very, very
Absolutely.
useful. And it puts people at ease as well. And there are so many different avenues that you can go down, and that the dentist will guide you, and our dentists do a really good job at doing that as well. And then I guess, relating that content as well with a lot of what we do at Dental Boutique, marketing is a really big aspect of what we do. So being able to create relatable content that is going to, relate to potential patients and make them feel at ease. And I guess highlighting that relatability is really, really important and really helpful. But how would you say, obviously, as I mentioned, marketing is a big part of what we do, but what would you say has been a really key importance to growing the business, and what has been a key, well, I guess not a key challenge, but what has been a huge challenge?
What's interesting is that marketing is a big part of, is seen as a big part of what we do, but I think everything is a big part of what we do.
Correct.
As we first started, marketing, in fact, didn't start until around fifth or 6 years into the business. So first year, when we first started, Ruben and I literally had this vision, okay, this is what we want to create. So we opened Dental Boutique 11 years ago, and the first clinic Ruben had to work somewhere else so that he could continue paying the loans and funding the business, because we had to take up a loan to obviously set the clinic up. And it wasn't a big clinic like what we have today. It was a small boutique, one single donated dental chair practice. So we actually had to get the chair donated from a friend who wanted an upgrade to a different chair, and we just jazz it up, make sure it's working properly, and that was how we started 11 years ago. So obviously the vision was very different. It was to really provide the best dentistry experience for every patient who walks through our door. I think the vision has not changed from what it is today, and until today, if we have one unhappy patient walking out the door, Ruben and I still lose sleep over
Explore.
it.
Yes,
It is still
yeah.
something where, what have we done? What has happened? What have we can done better? And we always think about how we can improve. So back on the journey, right? Like 11 years ago, from starting from a single dental chair, every year marketing has never been where it was. We didn't have any funds for marketing. The only marketing we did was we walked down to our neighbors and say, hello, we're open,
Yes.
come and visit us. We'd love to, a chance to be able to transform your smile if you ever need it. And so, we would go door to door, door knocking to basically do that. And that was our very first form of marketing. And from there, I guess we have our first patient, our second patient. And I think word of mouth was a huge part of the very beginning. And that was really our only form of marketing at that time. And so we grew from first year, we had 1 chair. Second year, we had 2 chair. Third year, we had 3. Fourth year, we had 4. So it was 1 chair per year.
Yeah.
And it was mainly just due to word of mouth. And as we grew into 4 years, we realized like it hit a tipping point where there was actually a lot of people that really wanted to come and see us. And I think that was around the same time when Instagram started as well.
Yes.
So a lot of word of mouth became an Instagram word of mouth. So patients that were coming in, they were posting about their experience, and they were posting about their journey of how happy they are, and their before and afters. So at that time, we just posted so many before and afters that people just go, wow, didn't know this was all possible. So that became like the word of mouth. Instagram became the word of mouth, and that was when we started exploring doing a little bit more with marketing. And that went from 4 chairs to we had to move to a different location across the road to service to be able to help more patients.
Yes.
And so we grew from 4 to 8, 8 to 16, 16 to 20.
Very
and
quickly grow. Yeah. Wow.
And the expansion, and we always thought we wanted to only keep it in one clinic because Ruben and I are here. We're able to overlook everything, while we're an amazing team. We are able to be close to all our team members that are like family to us. And that was always been the visions. Like people could travel and come to us because we had patients from, interstate, Sydney, Brisbane, Adelaide, and people from even international, we have people from Singapore, from US, from London that would come in and actually seek our services. So at that time we're like, we're just going to be with that one location. We'll just be this big location, and that's all. That's always been the vision until COVID hit. And I think when COVID hit, we realized, and being in Melbourne as well, I think, we had one of the longest lockdowns
Ever,
in the world.
Yeah.
And from that, that dentistry was allowed to be performed only for emergency. But our business is based on cosmetic dentistry. So we couldn't do a lot. It was 90% of the time we were just not able to do anything. So at that time, Ruben and I thought, well, we need to do something. What can we do? And we started doing virtual consultations, and all these patients that, wanted treatment, that we could then line them up straight after the lockdown. But also we had a lot of patients that were stuck interstate. So at that time we went, what do we do? How are we going to help service this patient who have started their journey and they're intemporaries or they're doing they just halfway through treatment. We thought we'll connect with some friends and colleagues that we know of that are great people in interstate, and from those interactions we decided, hey, why don't we go to them? Why don't we set up a dental boutique in Sydney, in Brisbane, in Adelaide, and all the places that our patients are? And during COVID, that's exactly what we did. So we decided that we even did virtual inspections because some of the clinics, including Sydney, we had never been, never seen, and we
that would have been a very, very tricky avenue to go down.
Yeah, well, it was interesting times, and I think thinking back, we were grateful for that, because if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't have gone and tried to expand into the other states as well. We wouldn't have thought that it was possible.
Wow. So it's very interesting. COVID was such a awful time, and a big time where a lot of businesses struggled, and a lot of business owners really struggled and tried to think of ways, how can I pivot my business? But, you were able to overcome that and really pivot the business. And it's very, very inspiring. And
Thank you.
I think a lot of business owners, could relate to that as well. And there's a lot of people out there that probably experience the same challenges as you did, and Ruben as well.
We're very lucky.
Yeah, very lucky. Yeah. Very, very lucky. Just very inspiring. And so what are you most excited for? What are you looking forward to about the future of DB? You know, you've expanded, you're continuing to expand. What excites you?
What excites me is how much more we can achieve, because we're really about changing the landscape of cosmetic dentistry and how to really bring it to the next level, to create this high, amazing standard that is different and that will pull the industry up as well as a whole in terms of what we could provide for our patients. So we've been working on a lot of innovation behind the scenes of how else can we make that patient experience even better? How can we make the dentistry even more predictable for patients and for the quality outcome as well, for long-lasting but also beautiful results.
Yes.
So how can we inspire even more people to understand, hey, cosmetic dentistry is for anyone that just wants even an improvement in your smile. So that's where there's so much more possibility, and there's a lot of exciting projects upcoming that we are about to reveal. From day one, the vision's always been the same. It's about being obsessed with our patients, really serving our clients, and how can we add the best, most value to their experience.
Yeah.
And it hasn't changed. So what we do now is we do it more at scale. So we have all our amazing clinicians are all, I guess, people that are similar to Ruben and my values. We all believe in the same thing. So together we are so much stronger because we can impact so many more lives. So to date, we've treated over around 60,000 patients now. And you know, that's a big volume that if Ruben and I have never expanded, we wouldn't have touched so many patients. And because we only have 2 pair of hands. And we, together with all our amazing team of around over 400 team members over Dental Boutique, you know, everyone plays such a different and unique role in dentistry that we are able to touch so many patients and really create this amazing experience at every touch point that they come through our clinic.
Yes, and that's something that I love as well. I think, you know, as a patient, every touch point was so amazing, and you know, whether it be the first person that you see at front office or the first person that you ring through to book your appointment with, moving forward to, you know, even once you see the dentist, once you see their assistant, how comfortable they make you feel, and then, you know, you might go onto our Instagram or our socials, wherever you follow us on, and that kind of stuff really relates to you, and I think that's very, very helpful when you're making a decision about what you want to go ahead with. And as a patient, especially with cosmetic dentistry, because at the end of the day, it is also about your health.
It is, and there's so many options as well with cosmetic dentistry, I think, that people do not realize. I think you sort of research on the one thing and you thought, oh, that's the only thing, you know, that would suit me, but without actually understanding your mouth and having an assessment and actually understand what other options are out there, you don't fully know what would best suit you and your lifestyle and what your results that you're looking for as well. So it's so important, and that's exactly why we keep innovating, why we keep, you know, looking at what other options we can provide for our patients, what range of treatment we can offer to our patients, and that all our clinicians are trained to understand every aspect. So they may not be able to do all of it, but as a team of so many people, we are able to offer all the treatment options that you know we could provide in our clinics.
Yes, it's absolutely amazing, and it's very, very important, as I mentioned before, to have the options and the education behind each treatment as well, which is fantastic, and we do a really, really good job of. So to conclude, recently you did win the Business Entrepreneur Award, but you have won it 4 years in a row with Dr. Ruben, but this year was on your own.
Yes.
That's absolutely amazing and such a huge accomplishment. What would be something that you would tell your younger self?
Well, just to clarify, the reason why Ruben isn't in this year is because he's over 40. So he's no longer considered a young entrepreneur. But yes, we're very, very grateful and privileged that, you know, we were recognised as a Melbourne Young Entrepreneur of the Year for 4 years in a row, and I think Australian Entrepreneur for, believe it's 4 years as well. But what would I tell my younger self would be to remember to stop and smell the roses.
Yes.
To remember to stop and breathe and to celebrate. You know, like I think sometimes we just go and we just forget how much we've achieved and how amazing, how great. Like we're always feeling grateful for our team and our and our family that and for all the amazing thing that happens around us. But we just never really stop to say it enough to the people around us or to really celebrate as well and say, hey, we've done well. You know, there are still challenges as we try to navigate, to our bigger vision, and there will always be challenges in every stage of life in our business. But to actually stop and remember and celebrate each moment. I think that's something that I would definitely tell my younger self that I'm still trying to remind myself now to keep doing.
No, definitely do an amazing job. Well, it was so lovely to have you on.
Thank you.
Very excited
for
this episode to come out. No problem at all. I'm sure we'll see you on again soon. But for now, thank you so much.
No, thank you for everything.
No problem. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.